keeping the economy going.
I insist that tax must be abolished. And as Minister of Finance, my first budget, I will abolish.
President Mahama, I don't power Mayama or Mankungo Ghana. So much men here in Nampua, Yambesham.
Yes, to take guidance.
If that's what you do,
we are to guide you. So if you still have, I'll give you the floor after that.
While we take responsibility for solving challenges, because that's what we're elected to do, we must let the Ghanaian people to know what the situation is. You need to let people know the challenge before you go ahead and solve it.
Operation Keep the Light On. Omoba be wura efiafiem ne mancha bia obia odi ECG foka.
We all remember the time of the power crisis, popularly called doomsday by Ghanaians.
Report ekere se omakopie efie bia yese Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia dia na abanya sase enem se Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia age. Echi boflo te sad hwe ma university
yan samanfo nyina kwaba ebiem emra dwumadie so ensem bebre ene kaso ewo oman Ghana mu yatrasi yede ni nyina ebrem na after say his excellency John Dramani Mahama o take over from Nana Akuffo addo no ensem bebre ene kaso ewo naban mu na sisia me no kasei ni first appointees wo ma converting ama ensema asie kyerabusua esawani esesame ena me kacho commander edemu info nyina eba eno chinso oro team no guso a wo mo ye adwuma ama sisi ame no kasei wo makwa ye nhwehwemu ama aban mu mpanimfo a wo mo ewi aban properties no yachi wo mo nyina ama babi ade na duru no ense enigye eyaba o my Ghana mo quick one yebewura ho nso ena fe yen energy sector mampani edi nsem bi ababa tudwa ama chese baby ade na duru de ano ayede quick one yebeko baransa no commander
yeah
ense vetting no ensama ekoso ho no
of course
me pese yedi kan ko
yeah
na fe no finance minister
of course
ense ne ho ne nsem bebre efi eba Afenyo makin so asembi si ho baransa no yenko tie nsama finance minister edi tudwa we ya baka say wanya finance minister na wi
of course
because we say no menya sure say bibia besia no kwan
yeah
enti Akuffo sen yekototo na no na nsema ono so di tudwa no yenkotie bi mra na ye ba nsema commander de ba no ano edi.
Mr. Chairman, I was on a show with the Honorable Kojo Opon Nkrumah, and the contest must come out. The Honorable Kojo Opon Nkrumah, at the time a Minister for Information, I'm sure, had the responsibility to sell a government policy on betting. And he said, I'm surprised you are not bringing that portion. He said that betting tax is being implemented because it is destroying our youth, and that the government is introducing this betting tax the government is introducing this betting tax to deter them, equivalent to a sin tax, so that they will not be staking the bet. I retorted on a show being hosted by Evans Mensah on Joy FM PM Express. I retorted by saying that will not solve the problem. That will not solve the problem because I've read a number of articles, and the article presupposes or suggests that it is destroying our youth. And so if you want to introduce a tax, you have to first look at the elasticities, and as to whether the elasticities will mean that imposing such a tax will prevent the individual or the people concerned from the staking of the VAT of the betting or not. But I doubt that will. And so if you intend doing that, the best option is to ban it and not to introduce a tax. And I said the tax will not solve the problem. Here we are today. I've been vindicated. Has the tax solved the problem as intended by the government? Big no. I insist that tax must be abolished. And as Minister of Finance, my first budget, I will abolish the betting tax. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, my position on the E-levy is well known. I do not intend to run from it. I've written articles against the E-levy. I championed opposition against E-levy. I still stand by them. So, Chairman, the E-levy is neither a direct tax, indirect tax, or an excise tax. I don't know how to classify the E-levy as a tax practitioner. So, Chairman, it doesn't mean that I do not recognize that the E-levy brings in certain revenue. But the fact remains that the E-levy retards our progress towards a cash-light economy and the fintech. We need to abolish the E-levy. I have said, and I'm on record to have said, that given the opportunity to abolish the E-levy. I want to restate that position, that if approved as part of the fintech, and I assure you, the E-levy will go within the 120 days calendar that we've announced. Thank you. The previous government indeed removed the road toll. But getting to the end, they signaled that road toll is coming back. Mr. Chairman, they submitted to Parliament, it was not laid, a concession agreement with the company to reintroduce the road tolls. I have a copy. Mr. Chairman, the NDC indicated from day one that the road toll will come back. We are not running away from it. In fact, the Honorable Haruna Idrisu, at the time, the minority leader, said that the NDC promises to bring back the road toll. The Hansard will bear us out. We have not run away from that fact. So, I can assure you, we are a party that sticks to our promises. And whatever we have promised to do, we'll do just that. If the road toll is a way to raise revenue, we'll raise the revenue. And the road toll, if you use the road, you have to pay a toll. And it's all over the world. Ghana won't be the first country, won't be the last one. You have to contribute towards the road maintenance. And so the only thing is we have to collect the revenue effectively and efficiently so that we can plow it towards the maintenance of those roads. Thank you.
Okay, Commander.
Yeah, the Roger.
Minimum energy sector. And Afenyo oral team.
Of course.
Wamushishemua, wamadia babotino.
Yeah.
And some brief rubber, but then Dinkanfu roha kitwabi. Na Afenyo yanko sansam no so.
Okay, we dey mamena wase. Na me che viewers na fi. Yen hyase na yenim komo. Na said the ma hyase o vet nim no. Yen wura honom first na fi. Yenim komo ni tentem. Autoforcing Minister of Finance designate okopiem e o vet committee nim said yen nyina hwe yi. E man sem bebre to dwa na true vetting no. Ade ba ko na ye very key. E Ghana for e hwe nim. E economic challenges are you won at these stages. And after exchange rate you know say ebeya seed ni benya oduna ebe stable na after kwan ye be fa so a ye be raise fund ye nsika sem no ebe koso na taxes na NDC for share bo no o be cut those taxes off nti eno ne niema na Ghana fo nyina hwe anyum se ato force ebe tima kwa kirechirem ama ato committee no ene Ghana force now ato force ko ye no o kansem bebre a or the roto ebem say roto no o be sign the back biem and ebebo in the generation of yen sikasem and yen tax GDP no obe raise from 13.8 e dey akọ 16.8 ntina obi bisa say obi o mu betwa taxes bi say E-levy any betting tax no e dey no mu be raise yen tax GDP no from 13.8 e dey akọ 16.8 and na yem dey pass atoforsen e make mention of roto obakaya at the time anado ba ban mu no ade ba ko ye Ghana fo na anya adwen the abolition of the roto no ifri ho no Ghana fo bufu ye and that was one tax ya Ghana ni pa na ye twa eto bim na Ghana ni bofu say ada na aban twa to na ye roto was one thing is a toll booth no na a serve as employment direct and indirect it is a watcha omo mo ton ade o toll booth no ye good tolls no enya ade a amanfo timi gira ko ton ade enye sika kofi ko ba ko ma biem ntina affect employment aside that commercially na enya effect ena aban sika ye benya no eno so ye nya biem batie kwan no so edaso tutu sika be na de be kwa akwennie nti e very important say atoforsen etimi making it clear say roto ni beba na aban po otwamu no na eye intention say onya ono na twam ko be sa de aba and these are some of the little mistakes now on E-levy ya na wo ka ho asem atoforsen one person na NDC wo position no ogina bonte ka several locations say why tax ho adwuma ache na oye financial person but E-levy tax no or the share direct tax as ya enye ye eno so enye indirect tax onhu tax kra E-levy no eye nti eye tax a entwaso mu nyansan sheda ni bebre say ode beba now in this case unya covet na ni mu pe members ni be sha say bisa say who position no o kan ho asem say ade nye papa now in this case kwa be na bo so be defender
na E-levy so ade a amanfo hwe so to abetia NPP.
Of course, one reason Ghana for the so say name people for chinchim Ghana for say GSC
na NDC for so the campaign mo say omo ba sa ne mani nyina omo betwam
because they saw say Ghana for ebuofu Ghana for pay E-levy nto omo gina so de ahyebo na omo de attribute after polling vote no e di ebiem naka e wo say oma ogina bre you you ane da bi nya da bi nti atoforsen esan making a clear biem say okaye in opposition. Now wasaka biem na then na very interesting they say he was bold enough to say the first budget obe printing and as obe presented at the Parliament as finance minister no or the best say E-levy no ye twam enya de a omo pay E-levy ni biem but onim wesia omo fa so omo generate ska wa bra omo fa tax foforo ensan ma metwe so biem and very interesting now then a man for so hwe ni mo especially youth no ade afre no betting tax
after say atoforsen ekoka betting tax one sem say ja obetwam no and say Ghanaian youth woman ya gie pa o say na sama mpanimfo no kan say sa betting tax no wo de ba ebebu mranche na bam amo meja bet twa but now no meja twa
na da bi omunya twa unim de ntia ukopie mo Kenya ma menya example baako Kenya fonso gi betting tax na omo hyase no omo ye no 12%. Eduru abi na still amanfo twa bet dodo nti abane ye so omo mpagam emfa nkosoro omo raise ni free 12 edu kwa around 16%. Afi kra na tax I bet no aye kese o Kenya because employment ni ho nti Africa help amanya omo twa bet wo so kese pa Kenya aye one of the first 5 countries e twa bet wo kese pa nti oba bisa ho se eni ensema na mpanfo bi ka se the more na ye gisika kese free bet ni mu no e be bum rant na ba mo magyan no e no kra na ansa na be ka to se nya dabi enye no kra nti sadia atofo se
den na be ma rant na jai
problem ni nyina ye ba akopɛ ma rant na adwumanye se onya adwumaye na onim se bosome me salary 4000 Ghana enti salary we na me de bobra amfo ni salary ni nkwoto cheche because onim se onya ye adwuma nko ade oye assured se madwuma ni da bia mekɔ adwuma bosu menye sika komo ne me
minima branch bi okumase osori a ayi ase na oda DSTV ase na oda eni anopoto anwumre obehwe bo anti bo no wo hwa na odi twabet ohwa na odi twabet papa bi mebo ni di wenye se ya betama no Efenyo Lawson Heba. Lawson Bites. Yes, Direman Bites. Ena obi adwuma. Ena abranche no ye ya no nya adwuma ho ye. From anapoto anwumre, obekọ no wo adwuma mu. Edi sese no sika no di twabet no. Now obekọ no asusu. On se na twabet ni biem. Ebi obetwa kwa no Sundays.
Sundays.
Anti asema wo kan no esi asem so.
Ti asem ni nyina ne se ye wo mpanifo a omo ye big men o mu twabet. Alan Kwadwo Traumatic kan bi. Se ono oye betting person. Twabet. Nti wo bisa ho se Alan Kwadwo Traumatic se wo si wo di bet ya. Wo bet ni 10%. Yentum nko 20 ebebu na bam like how emu na bam because ono de wa building ho awie nti sana abrante na oni adwuma no o de bet na ekyekere na wure ohuni se eye nidaso ma me nko try me 10 cedis hwe ebia na di 1 billion ebia na di 300 million ebimpo a me di 200 cedis na me de akotomo Isaac ketwa no e de abatwene de metima di na wotwe but say owadwuma they will not go there nti many atoforsen eya adwene say number of articles are wakan and then na me de say wo say wakan articles bebre ebia ni ho a e conclude akere ne say betting tax no ebe ma mrante jai bet ni nyina ye employment and ebe ma mrante jai bet but before say me free atoforsen ho no
meba answer the picture be out to screen so.
Okay.
I say my priority is a stable city.
Okay.
Low price and job creation.
Job creation.
Aha. Di atofo no. I say na yi say city no ebe stable. Na adwuma aba oman yi mu. Na afen so no niam aboa ba form.
Okay.
Finance minister.
Unim bibi. Say atofo sen eka say ya. Na je say eye do.
Okay.
Because say oba be finance minister. Say dia me can me be share my asam me can ye say wa bra o converting committee nanim no. Na Ghana for expectation na ye the economic challenges no. Exchange rate no. Any say na na Ghana for twen say e ho nkomo be no wo kwa di taxes no. Dia no wo kwa fa ho. Ndi say wo kona ampa utimi ko gina ho ka say o priority any say economy ni be ye yen city ni betumi agina na employment beba o say ye hallelujah the Ghana for panyina no. Of course. Na why na kanai senanado etna akonya so yi ena employment e wo adwuma bu ena $1 eye 1 cedi ena adwuma bu ena $1 eye 1 cedi a uji se kan bi value so abawi
Dabi
nti da bia me kase na nado aye bo na che bebrebe no one of the mistakes Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia because Ojini die say wa be in economics.
Okay.
And was haji Kenoforeta di yes from 1990s. And a Kenoforeta why finance wo adwuma data bank near the adintina ojo mu di say omu nim sika say mane broso. Nti omu betima manage economy ni yie. Nti oka da kura na nado on sisa Kenoforeta da. Oka da on sisa Bawumia and omu adwuma na omu ntimi anye no economy ni break ye no e say bibia.
No, yen hwa de atofo sen be finance minister. Na obi se city no de mo mu fa bi nka ho.
Okay.
Memma en kodan so ne yan ka se oh city no se ko 18 cities. E ko 20 cities. O de se 14 na o NDC fo abai no. Omuma ne 4 years no de enye 14 na. Se omuma dollar no eye stable. Na fe niema bo no ba fom kakra. Na adwuma so ba o man yi mu a. O ye sure se Ghana fo besa akasa NDC fo nto aso bi.
Asem ni nyina no enne ya me ne wo kasai say exchange rate no ba bia edai NDC twa o 4 years na o management so amafom na say ankosoro eda bebi eda bebi o mefa ne hwa ne da na adwuma ba o man nim a Ghana for bebrebe pese NDC ebeto aso o mo man to abampo ebebe so o mbesa to abama NDC because o madwen ebetwa kwa kire say any 8 years ago ebia NDC tran ho a anka dollar na gina 4 cities no anka tena ho ana se be kosoro mpo a anka nko bebrebe nti amanfa dwen be o mo say if o metima maintain level we a yes maintain o mo ye change anhwa opponent na obeba no obesa ya de no ya nti no de e true
me be se ko di video eba Afenyo markets ne bufu ye e sorry free vet na se
of course
aman komodie bebre efreche babaran yenko video nim na eba info bi ha commander edini nyina eba.
The fact that we are guiding and giving you directions as an honorable member of parliament, you should take a cue and proceed. If I want to apply the rules strictly, as the former first deputy speaker have been doing, what happened today, we may not be experiencing some of those things. According to him, you are asked to ask a question. You ask the question, but we have allowed you to run commentaries, sometimes to read write-ups before asking the question. So I would urge all of you, particularly the new members, to take guidance from the chair. We are here to guide you. We have to guide you. So if you still have one more question, you may proceed to ask the question. I'll give you the floor after that. I'll give you the floor after that.
Continue. Honorable. Continue. Ignore him. Continue.
Hold on with your question. Let me give the floor to Honorable Kwame Agoja.
Chairman.
Afenyo markets.
Yeah, minority leader.
Oh, Afenyo markets. It seems that Ghana for bim upia bontian. Some amount for canono.
Yeah.
Amount for say as a oya kasado do oya arrogant. And amount for say oh minority no the eze ya oh okwa e wo say adwuma say ya na wo ye wo pressure esi opponent so
yeah no correct us opposition leader say ote ho na ode onsa go ho a emwa e wo say umma opponent ne pressure but eduru ba bia Afenyo markets onye careful oye adwuma de man party any opposition but one sha amanfo benya mindset bi say oye arrogant kwan ofa so a walk out any ade no now the idea nsem we nyina ba ye nyina ni say voting committee no eye MPP NDC MPs ene ya ka oma bom ene ye de oma form committee ena honorable ahiafo yeah anano ada ye call parliament ye to abayi as deputy speaker ono no chairman of the committee ena Afenyo markets eye co-chairman nti chairman for no me mienu obi ne de oboa no adwuma now Afenyo markets problem ni nyina ne say MPR owoso ame me kire John Darko honorable John Darko obisa question bi anasem nyina ne say Honorable Dominic Ayini yeah ono na oba beye Minister for Attorney General and Justice no owo law firm bi lawyer for eku a ono anate ni dia yeah your friend no Ayini and Partners one of the biggest law firms in Ghana international obisa nyina ne say as lawyer ni a wo law firm na wo ba be Attorney General no enya conflict of interest say ebia wo de o law interest no ebe ye adwuma wo aban officer na obisa sa question no na honorable ahiafo a wo ye chairman of the vetting committee no omo di hu nkomo na omo susu say sa asem no omo asofo maka dwie na honorable John Darko esan kasa biem no osan ko na chikofa sa asem ne ba biem na chairman ahiafo kire ni mu say asem wo ya tra ho ehu hia say obesan agode ya ko biem eno na Afenyo markets susu say ahiafo ye chairman no ase obre ono ne party member na oye new e wo parliament no o si the kwan o man on the right e ma ne nkasa eno na nam so a Afenyo markets bufu ya odi epia bonten no
Afenyo markets
yeah very interesting
I for di unkomo ba
o shield MPP funk it one so honorable John Darko Afenyo wa ba obesi o say chairman sabunsu anan nti o shield o bo mo
training o but I for say abroso say ya no ye time a o me majority and I spiritually no e be affect me e be say but na okwa
ho
minority
yeah of course
nti do ba bia man for say okasa do later no na asan be buatia
no
and man for say mu na ye hwem you get it nti no se koba ni say na okọ act say ya o kina bi no
yeah and na chairman ne kra no one thing is say vet no matna se ache atofo se de no kwa no matna se 4 hours 30 minutes and o mu wie ye and o mu call abugina John abugina apostle and o mu wie ansa na o mu ba Dominic Akurugutenga Ayini so nti meaning say na o matna se for almost 8 hours plus nti o mabre nti na hwa o mo so pese o mu twitwa nema so but away from that na eni nkomo foforo
answer ensemble bring free energy sector eba President John Dramani Mahama kra no abetuja fachi but kitwa before you ho na afini yenko ani man
but me fa nwura energy sector na afi eni nkomo bi emfree hosisia because e very important ni nyina ne say after say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ebe ye mampani wie ye no energy sector any power crisis na ye topical amanfo edi hu nkomo ye ba
o tribe ya say o me solve that problem na o mo dia je o mo di mimi hu di say die di ama NDC mampani wo mo complain no eye say o mo pese o mo complain che Ghana for na Ghana for say house na wo ho na fe o ma solve dia je o mo di na fe no adidi atama e di Mahama 2016 no Ghana for be hu say Dabi say papa no or your problem solver nemo no we nya kabia ho in terms of energy sector
asemi nyina no omoni nyina no
just one person solve the ju omodi yes
ene amane a efri ho ba ne say ECG for ananchi operation bi efre no operation keep the light on na operation nyina ne say according to energy ministry any electricity company of Ghana nkane na eya dum no ECG for person ejina so na say e ka eda ECG no estopa enti ECG for your announcement omu chem say from 15th January ekwese 31st January omu ba be wurawura efiafiem ne mantwa ba bia obi a odi ECG for ka say ye 1 cedi say yes omu be wura ofie na omu ba be check no ma jomu sika etwa say omu twa light ni mu a omu betwam na according to ECG for no we na your operation ani bre wom nti omu kwa at various levels bi a district bi ano omo mpanifo ene omo tax force ene omo securities nyina beka ho bi ene omo akọ
nti we say no by force no omo de kwa kwagigi eka no
yes by force ene omo de kwa kwagigi ka no omo say amount prepaid meters no so omo machines omo be sign dey akọ check say u prepaid meter no omo still prepaid no eye adwuma correctly said dey was eye adwuma anase ade no mutimi ye illegal bi etwefa ba bi nti obi a waye illegal bi asoso no omo eba after you
okay meba we say we sorry no
yeah for now there
okay
sorry ni nyina no
meba say ECG for
yeah
meka na say mampani John Dramani Mahama any ECG for ebe so omo ye say adwuma we ya ba bia mesre omo so omo target eyam panifo no fie
no
Ghana mpanifo MPs ni DC fo no ne aban mu mpanifo no wo mo check wo mo fie ho eno ati wo mo check nsore churches no
sore lad bi on so
mesre wo mo check nsore no any aban meka ne se institutions no wo mo check wo yie ena afenwuma akase ebi se
companies no
radio stations wo mo check because radio for no omo light be ya na so ntino menka se
we there omo say operation to we 2 weeks operation
omo checking sorry o
na we no say omo ba na ye ho memasema task force for e de akire
ni titiriu sa wam de friend one man
churches no
na minim sa Roman na presby ni Pentecost mo no omo de na but sa one man churches no omo check omo ye
and a very important part yeah eba pa ntino we there obi a sempa and e was say ye te e kana e da ho no because ECG we ka ho pa e was ye te kan nyina na afi e different ho nti we e energy sector any ECG nkoma e free ho eba eno no
but I know say eno chi so mampani di nsem bi batudwa
yeah
mampani di okasa sa no e was ye nyina nya bi ti
of course
ti quick one yenko ni nchemre ba commander besan to aso
our power generation sector, and if there was one of the first meetings any person who's taking responsibility of this country had to have, then it's with you, the power producers, because we know what role power plays in keeping the economy going, especially in a time when the economy is in crisis. You must have had your issues with the previous government. And I think that I know many of them, but it helps to hear it from, I don't mean your horses, but from the horse's own mouth. And to see how we can work together to try and improve the situation so that we can have a good collaboration. We all remember the time of the power crisis, popularly called doomsday by Ghanaians. It was important that we expand the space for independent power producers because government on its own could not always leverage the capital to put in the generation that was required. And that's how come many of you signed PPAs and set up the thermal plants that we have. I remember that we had two issues to resolve in terms of being able to solve the power crisis. The first was to increase generation because over the years, we had thought that Akuffo was the all-in-all and that it will continue to provide Ghana power forever. But the time had come for us to complement hydro with thermal. And in the beginning was VRA that was responsible for that. But mobilizing capital early enough and being able to operationalize thermal plants was becoming a challenge for government and its state-owned power production companies. And so IPPs started to come in. Sunan Asogli came in, Sem Power and all of you came in. And you've played a very critical role in making sure that our economy gets the power it needs to be able to continue to make progress. But like I said, there were twin problems. One was the generational, and that's made us accelerate the signing of PPAs with independent power producers, but also bringing in emergency power. If you remember, Ameri was one of those that was brought in, and then the car power ship also came in. But that was just to solve the generation. The more important and critical issue was the debt and paying down the debt that accumulated in the sector. And so we introduced the energy sector levy. And our anticipation was that looking at the revenues that were going to be generated by the energy sector, within 5 years would have been able to clear the legacy debt. And so we passed the ESLA levy. But after we passed it, we left office in December and a new government came in. And they had other ideas and other ways of trying to do things. But unfortunately, one of the outcomes was that ESLA was not used for its intended purpose, and the revenues of ESLA were mismanaged. And so what should have gone to pay down a lot of the debt that has accumulated today was used for other purposes. And so we have the situation we have. And like I said, while we take responsibility for solving challenges, because that's what we're elected to do, we must let the Ghanaian people to know what the situation is. You need to let people know the challenge before you go ahead and solve it. And so now we have an energy sector that is burdened with debt, highly inefficient. Just giving a ballpark figure, the audited debt in the power sector is estimated at about $2.5 billion. And if you take $2.5 billion and imagine that we're in an IMF program bailout for $3 billion, if you're trying to achieve macroeconomic stability with a bailout of $3 billion and you have a power sector debt of $2.5 billion that you have not yet come up with any strategy for dealing with, then you can be sure that it can wreck any fiscal consolidation that you achieve under the IMF program. And so as quickly as possible, the IMF and World Bank were very generous to send missions down that have been speaking with us to discuss how we deal not only with the power sector debt, but with all other challenges that we face in the economic sector. And I do think that those talks have gone very well. And they're continuing to talk with technical people. And as we go on, I'm sure that you get to know what the issues are. But I thought that it was important for me to meet you as president and tell you that I care about your concerns and what you're going through, and to say that we're going to work together with you to see how we can resolve the issues in the power sector. The first thing is for us to deal with the issue of the value chain, the whole power value chain. And that means that we must start from the downstream all the way upstream. There are issues to do with availability of gas, and so that's upstream, how we get the companies in that space to increase exploration and bring on more gas so that we eliminate the use of fossil fuels and achieve our dream of gas to power 100%, which will bring down the cost of generation. That's the first thing. And the next is to see how we can bring more efficiency in terms of your sector and the production of power so that we can pass on any benefits to the Ghanaian people. But obviously, the bull in a china shop is Electricity Company of Ghana, the sick man of the power sector. I mean, you can't run an electricity utility and make 40% commercial and technical losses and continue to think that you have a viable business. And so something must give in that sector. And that's why I've said that we are looking at introducing private sector participation. If you remember, under the Millennium Challenge Compact, we had agreed that in the last portion of the distribution, billing, and metering, we're going to introduce private sector participation. And so I remember I signed the contract eventually, the compact, and we started the whole process with improving the national grid with the bulk supply points, the BSPs and all that. But there was also a component for private sector participation in billing and metering. And so the new government took over, and that's when the whole PDS saga happened. Even as irregular as PDS was, and as inefficient as it was. I mean, when PDS came, you could see an increase in the revenue that was being collected. And so if we do it more transparently, more fairly, more competitively, I'm sure that we'll get an efficient partner to join us in terms of billing and metering so that we can eliminate the huge losses that ECG is making. And so we're willing to take the bull by the horns and reform that sector of it, and also reform the governance in ECG so that it's running more efficiently than it does currently. So these are all things that we're looking at, but I thought that it was important to call you and listen to you. Like I said, you're not horses, but I want to hear from your own mouths, you know, what you've gone through, and to open a new page on how we intend to do things. In the interim, one of the first things we want to do is to improve the governance in ECG. We don't need to wait for the private sector participation. We can start to look at their procurement systems. And I mean, why would you procure items that you don't need till 5 years or 6 years after? And so much of the revenue that is collected must go to pay for power that is generated. And so how to make the cash waterfall mechanism more effective so that at least you people are clawing back part of your cost while we look at the outstanding debt. These are issues that we want to look at, but we're going to do that in concert with you. I can assure you we're turning a new chapter. As I said in my inaugural address, I said Ghana is open for business again. You guys brought your investment in here, and you expected that investment to pay off. And so we need to be faithful partners in order that you're able to run your businesses properly and you're able to account to your shareholders, because your shareholders will be wondering, I mean, what kind of investment in this that we've done, and we're producing the power and yet we're not being remunerated for it. So those are the first preliminary remarks I'll make. Would open the floor and I'll listen to you two, and after that, if there are any other comments that I should make, I will come back. So thank you and welcome again.
His Excellency
John
Dramani Mahama, another day.
Yeah, I know.
Where kick it to a bit of Yanko Rafon so.
Well, the right when you know a summary of Nkoma course between President Mahama and his stakeholders are involved in energy sector.
Yeah.
Why ever first ever solve your problems? Energy sector said you're not working here.
Say or mine the cow.
Or mine the cat.
Nana Akuffo do majaka.
Or majaka.
Sani be kano.
Anti a cano. And our President Mahama church and you to say you're not working. Or Pesagana for the situation now at that honor. Now also we also swap. Now for the agenda fans.
But me no say ECG for the who can say omudi moja so so na ba be digiske. One thing so say say obi o ho a obesi ni fie. Instead of say ECG for no e dey prepaid e be ba no mo mfa ma o.
Of course.
Na omudi meter basa bia ba be bo ho.
Of course.
After light bill na ma. Nti e be dey be 2-3 years. No light bill no e mada.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah.
Almost 3 years no omudi light bill na ba. Maybe omudi ababe 400 million 300 million.
Yeah.
200 million.
Of course.
Nipa sa no on sheda nya dwuma papa bia. O de sa ka ne bre no a. Obeda
tia. Ontimi ntua.
Eno na as a result of that ena we nyina ekoso.
E ka ho pa anti. Ade ba ko so mhwe ye. Meter registration is obi pe meter. Na wo ko office wa. Acha a week or 2 years and in second. But e ba sa pe. Na ni para ko electrician because menya meter bia ma. Na wa kwaji meter bia because o give me na so mu. Nti 40 meter bia na ye de abre no. But nkoma mampani edi no. Eye energy sector e kan da ho no. De na all kan do no aye mfidi aye kraba aye. Now before so we fra kunya so no be kaya. Ni nsema wo kire kire no. Or the power plant ahodo baaye. Na or the levy bi baaye to obi. Ya na ye fra no energy sector levy sa extra na odi hu komo no. Ni nyina ya as a result of nkane ane nsoye. Enti yankofa power plant emra na eme generating power maye. The power plant aba ya bob san ye de ye kada ho. Nti problem ni nyina ne se ekwa be na before so e betika no. Ene ye introduce sa energy sector levy no. Said ye be ye betiti sika ne kakra. Na di twete said ye airport terminal 3 no. Ye twetua no.
Eno na e ba se sa to no. Ye dua e bi ko Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ho. E bi mu se na po.
Sensem bebre. Inti nka ye twa no in 5 years tax no ebetimi ate ye kana ye di ni nyina na ye ti wi a de eguso gigi ni nyina be ye mfaso a anke wo se 3 years nie energy sector no anya but asem ni nyina ne se mampani eboy amane se na ado ne na aban sika na omugigi ye no omanfa ntua saa ekana eda ho no omo abulo sika no ama sika no ko very interesting it is a see adem said the only way ye be ko ne se ye de ye nkania no ebe ko more of a privatization ebe invite private companies na omaba be shem na nkane na gyan so na ECG so mampani say ECG yare nti o say ye sane ade very interesting yeah we ye nkomo a e free mampani aso ye eba ye but
minim say light on sem de any ECG no enkrofo bebre e experience enye ni nyina na aka no you know sem obi an drop in a comment e comment section mo experience no obi ho a sifie ni meter no ye say e bre ni meter bi meter ne buy light bill e ma afi achie na ECG fo abegina o say e kase na ade afi ma buka na gunu so akoye nsem bebre
we say ya ECG fo be kwa afie be ye maabo obi ho a ni meter no problem wo ho odi meter no ba ye nche ECG fo no be ko wan hwa e ka o mbe bu ama no say meter bi be no mo say friend you say mbu e two mirika te say bi
ko say ya
very interesting
okay but I think say oral team no so omugusua e ya dwuma ama information bi e liki boss and the quick one yenwura hoy
well we dey a very short one yenwura oral team no na eni nkomo kakra after some mampani for me oral team no be hwa anansen mampani betra akonya so ye no oral team no ashase equal rounds na we as a result of omagada omo documents and informations ahodo no and o ma start a patrol rounds eko aban nsase any government properties nyina ya omo eko akọ check say nsase no sen and ho nsem na sen and akwakodu
na no na obi ka say aban nyina no na don Akuffo ado aban yi and state properties wo ma wia pa
before this ankomo no say one thing is na do a lot of niamania me bi baaya amamfo se no na omudi wia aban japade one sa ministry of regional organization and development no sa ministry ye said the regions no ye de organizing foforo na ye shape nsase na ye develop areas no foforo ntamamfo se sa ne nyina aka na ministry of special development initiative nti niamania bebre na amamfo zampa na do fa kwambone so se omode jijiji aban japade but obi a was said your obadwina fa hona okuja to mun nam saa ne ja omuguso ye adua no report e kire se allegedly omakopie efie bi a ye se e Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia dia na abanya saase enam se Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia age ena wasifie so say allegation a eba aye very interesting but we dia
Bawumia so huna mani o
hu amane pa o se obekaya ne nkontafo na ekobu Abu Ramadan mo ko bu kene Japan Mr. Otibo Nsufie tugu ye no
enti we no allegedly allegedly ne ye aban asase ena fie no so ye Bawumia fie
allegedly Bawumia wia aban asase asini fie asiso
se no ye aban mu nipa
no
se no vice president
ti amra pa na we kra de conflict of interest kese se o ye vice president say ye hwehwem na yampa se efie ne Bawumia dia vice president na aban asase wato asi ufie asiso da bi enya ne sa DC you cry say hwe na wampa aban asase how much more vice president
na aban niema no unim the way na politicians no musito obekọ aban asase da ho asase a ye kase eton a eda enkran asa enkran bontin so ye ton no be 5 billion obekọ ne dia man 100 million
asem ni nyina no asem ni tenten ne tietie nyina no
ora timi omo ya adwuma
ora timi ne bo adwuma pa na enye no nko anoda nkomodie ni se asase bi nso so na ye NVTI for dia no se National Vocational and Technical Institute for no masase e ma World Bank kura releases ka se omfa nya adwuma wa asase no so en develop enye project na asase no allegedly yes soja panimpa bi enso so se asase na ne dia why ni project so I see soja panipa allegedly a allegation e popia ni say oratim no egusua e di dwuma so say oratim am say omo gada omo information nyina na omo document nti omo ya ho adwuma wie no e no be so omo de omani e konsase nyina so kwohwe say information e kita wo no e no ana akoso asase ne so ana
manya ntia kra se ba bi ho mu duru a ya fence ho oma nwuram
baby ho a ese mo nwuram we show say okuja to ni o say ye hu so okuja to but nwuram kofi wache say kofi wache but nwuram nti very
okuja to nso orafo enyo omadwuma wie no abrewu
obebre pa
na o say obi ti say kofi wache de oye adwuma silent papa na nkasa misuro no
oye one person me peni pa omo ye adwuma omo nkasa bebre omo ye din and omo ye say silent observers say observer de bia oni hu nkomo anytime bia obetene nka bia na deal no eye done wadwie and this time I think say saade no na ye one kit na Kofi Buachi add to oral team no oye very silent on kasa obi be kasa okuja to na chama no kra okuja to na chama but unse obi te say Martin Pegbu unse ono okasa onye chama but okasa but friend is Kofi Buachi de onye obi okasa very silent but adwuma ne de omo bopa na they say the amanfo hwe animu ye papa ya na owo sala east no say omo din sa so no ma de kire film cry sa na omo ko nti minim say ebedru sala east say honorable chiana de one malik basintale enya ntawantawa
ebedu no so omo gini nyina
say abaya sas was filling station as radio station but enough allegations a whole lot of
now so the boy back kumnuma okay send this for anasa meka ne say John Dramani Mahama na ban etimi ese adwuma im o my Ghana o my ne beda na se ba se wantimi anya nsusu a o my ne beda na se enim semate de make kan ase quick one abigi tena se na yenko yes abigi day abigi na bokore
na manya mi adu mi ho den papa
bere sembebre na koso o my Ghana mu na menim ba bi abedi kan fa His Excellency John Dramani Mahama or in sembebre up to dwa enafi oral team wo madwuma wo mo ye enafi veteran asenso en sembebre ekoso Afenyo Markins Atoforcing finance minister quick one yenwura mu e
tina mama menchi ahwefo
say Atoforcing finance minister ono na catch attention pa je o say E-levy enafi veteran tax nyina no be say ibeyi ni nyina edi afi ho enafi suso no oman no be hwe na city no ai stable na afi suso no adwuma bo man yimu na chese enema koso kwekwa na yenwura ho e
sinama adia me ahwehwe ena finance minister aka because I don't think he to abatia MPP
or your designate
yes
onyantena so
na
ya approve na fe no akovet na ehwe so mbe approve
wa pass ewie
za
ade na aka bi
wa
pass ewie say wa pass funny say wa jetum say dia no mo nam campaign so no ansama no mo kan no anu anu wa ba kan pepepe
na da wona wa be jeja
wa pass ewie hon be tuma ka ta mo magina fi anka dia be si o ma kuro anga obi atimi nyinu na sandi se von kwa no te ho MPP ni MPP fo be no MPP fo no mo fa so bi eni so NDC fo na to anti finance minister wa pass ewie your friends are finance minister say say wa pass ewie
your friends
finance minister on the be bibia so na me shan adina wonu na me ba ma so banya 100 na me 500 kan
E-levy ni veteran tax
E-levy say na o sa timi no na mo fa nkrama ne say me sere no akrofo ne timi ache omumwo na me kwache na na ado ne ba nwua na me ngimi
o da bi se no de te E-levy na na do mo te won de abo man ne ho bra
da bi o man be abraba ne abo ana sisi ye di eka no sisi ana ye di ECG fo kai antin ana ye di aka bebre wo ma abraba mo cha ma blabo E-levy scan na do de o di twa nanum
o twa nanum we
o di twa nanum e wai chema di ground na do mo de
na de mo de so mo de abo man ho
o man be anti waka sa o man you wa here mo nti say amana ho kire ya wuhu dollar hiri kosoro wuhu amaba no de abobra anti mesre no oba o trace o muam ne acha kromfo ne mindi mesika
afi betting tax
mbabunu ni jaji no me kanu ka adwuma we am mawuram na me jai ko satam no na me se adwuma me le no prada bia meka na mesi adwuma na nkoyie mame na enhyeda anwemo obekwa na atweme ni na metwa papa so adwuma we am mawuro me Ghana on a mabunu yes bet in one on the joe. A book created Juma and Mabunu Petma. So at one created Mabunu Metra Pet was all the time.
I said Juma can I have buying a creature Juma, a brooch private sectors.
And the private
to private creature Juma.
Private sector now I want a binding man and quaint and man and creative. Oboguno. Tia Obabana Baguno. Minimum Juma for a bank, a band by a night for 4 years, Maumugun. Minimum my far band by Obogun. And Sanko from created money for bad 10,000 and 5,000. My band Bagun. Sanko for number for cotton if you know what a Oja once the area of 20s in all that tried behind. And to what's how the birds are to swap. And then in the American Yanadum. Also obey you in Africa. A Mabuniati. Almost I'm in fine at that. And I former President Mahama. Sir Sally, Mahama Capra. And I need James. A Maburu. And I need James too. E-levy. Person time no man. I need Jana Mania.
Nyabatre.
Cinema Manabatre. Manabatre.
I beg you to say.
Messay Ghana Mabunu. Seven fact. I said that, and there President Mahama say, Yadana say, and if finance minister Yada Omastri.
Nyabatre. I beg you to say.
Messay Ghana Mabunu. Say, and far I said that, and there President Mahama, and then finance minister. Say, dear me, Yantimin Jomaka. I ain't young couple and shell. Because dear me, Yaniachi, away a blabum. Because a Juma, not what I my but it can see a drum for no, and I'm going to see it. Now, when you go for boy, I won't go for, and you grab the block of more fear. But you know, and fun say, yes, I be sure the block of more fear.
Okay, I say Obashana and Nima Boa Bafom after Juma Bo, my Munafeno. City no dollar.
Outside can be my
dollar. No,
or city,
oh, Mama dollar nice stable.
Stable, and Jabba Biagina,
and yes, stable.
And you're very stable, a Jabba Biagina.
Stable.
A bad stable. A bad Jabba Biagina. Mahama as a manager, Manano, and open there. Me, how you know, my finance minister Naka. Oh, Sam, I am a Hamada, and I was of finance minister and Mabonity. To Mumia Naka boom. I'm a dollar, oh, so dollar crowd, this one, you cried at General. None but putting your Jumaya, not dollar, not General 8 years, I am found. Because dollar and when soon, oh, man, in General. No fine anything. Mahama Yadi, I'm Muntinasi. President Mahama Yadi. Because who's a name I say, and to pass a child Ghana for say, and nameless and Obiancha no, and to obey any year. And to wait, Mamma can say, President Mahama, only you know, finding anything. On finding the man and animal. Say, I dear number but 2 years, 9 years, my Baba year. Because 2016, I am to me, the account did not tell me. And then, was so we are. I don't see the end hours. I don't see the end hours. Now, dear Brian, with the power second. Two no so by Osadiban, Omodibabano. Hey, minimum Pia. Satan me a dear school fees. Or the toe I can't both fruit. Actually, both fruit is hard and man to university. Aside your sit down. No dear school fees. Nana to buy it in what therefore a good toe. One didn't some man before no home. Why, what you know, go, Majuma, you know, or so created job, no good or job. Nana one created job or good job. Manu or sa walk here. Remember to my show. Uko I sent a Ninia. O drag them letter of Pejonino Shasro. Satam no ho, Uka, me master and see sad and mamma Amino. Or the toe is a buffalo and the seed. No,
I'm going to hear the banway.
University or the scanner when the side just school fees free. I said her university and the money. I told Nana
for Mufanchemi.
Oh, Nana buy or say or the buy toilet. Want me a photo no crowd or Guno.
The Mamma Shanaba University.
Yes,
Oritono.
Sika.
Watombo float.
Bo float.
Ashene mano university.
Waheni SS now also waheni free no. Waheni saa dia ko university. Nti maame we nana.
That no free SHS ne mai.
Dabi.
And you eno no re hwe SHS no.
Yes.
Ana owie ye no.
Owie.
Ne ba no pass ye.
O pass ye.
Ana onya university kwan.
University kwan na otua ye. O man bi university. Zen mani akwa anya aduma so ye. Omumie ni anya aduma. Nti sadi po ye nanadu. Wutiri mo nyade. What goose any power aduma. Ah, what do Manu Busasa ne? Obatmanya says can have a university. At Mr. Wapu, Yamisha Mahama, President Mahama, Yamisha, because I've been proud, my Mama Ganampo, so much man in Nampa, Yamibashram.
How about you say?
Say, I've been proud, my Yama or Mankun Gogana, so much men here in Nampa, Yambashram, because almost about 80 or 100 dollars. 120 ade na na do mo de ade tina we won di Ghana fo abo
e dey say ma me na kwotena fie no ne manke to na omo hono mu hwe SHS na university no mu ntimi nkobi
Debi na SSS no oba yede no anya sika ma na SS na na do ye ne o ye ne say na na do ye ne say o say no o ye ni boss obadi ya tem
ye na na do de wa see from today
wa see from wa jaya ha tie yen ka no credit hard me see asofo na 2016 na mo say Mahama ye bonsam na o man tim na nado abai o man tim ka me sofo bia wan ka na nado asama ma na nado aso ne Mahama ba ade kitwa bi na wo sofo ba preach agina wa so la nyankopon tua ka wo sofo ba gina wa so le dem na nado mu show ya wo de age Ghana wo hawari aba na sofo ba gina wa so le dem nya tum na wan ka no kura na Mahama abai adikito bi na meka nyame ntwa so fukroka because Ghana stop ye nyato.
Okay, so energy sector no ana ye wi ho no so omo say ba be create jobs omo ma niam abo aba from
because yet me talk Mahama say obehu nyambo any finance me obama niam aba from ni yetimi ato no wa say create job amaye yes no what shall we say omonye no mfanji umudin so what did make omunye no mfanji umudin na enkoso hie because na misel sinema na emo misel Mahama ahade misel light no de ayasa oba Ghana for baby misel yandi nkan kochi na yanko na na do mu fie misel na Mahama misel
ya mo say light and yanko light na mo say omo be operation what dey kabi o meje no
misel we dey Mahama ko dey job me ma acho kati yi for mpedi for misel
dabi
enko ko dey extra Ghana for we don't know the president with that omo ya same fact yango poni wa ya Ghana for nyina Mahama miskachero nko for say go dey omo nya abutre
we say e council ko
e kan
also omo ya de no
na do kura de ka
wo de ka
na ndabi anyemi masemo na do kura de ka parliament na do ondeka omo timi chinaji ana Ghana pen for na ya
okay last time omo ko dum parliament
omo so omo de ka omo tia na do mo aka no e do so chen Ghana for ka na do mo ka omo de
o me ga o de ka
oh nyame asa na me dwena
na o de ka
so ko na abo bi si wunu ase aka che sorry free ya
you ko ma Ghana for
me Ghana for na me asampa wasa Mahama ba me ka hwen kira aha pa so onim na omo yesa de no aha wa jo obesanya din bo ne wa because among for the secretary ya
no on fa kwa me so na be jiska
oh eya botre so what you say e bia nipa no obi ha ni be otimi twakwanya onya be anti I was say omunya botre eno sabi yiti from meter ebinye ebi afri oman kasem ebinye nti omunya botre no omu sie so pese Mahama ni baba nyama aha yesemu penfo mu ka chiro penfo ne say ma tamfo nyawo sa how me energy for your mistake I pick banyawo so my am so mbadi ba force be wuro obi afie ko jijika no mo di adundu amam for large at say dum so na nti o munya buto no mu siesie bibia wa o di ka no wo de foto ayentu kakra ni ensisa meters no emfa papa mebo ho ti wo di ka wo to kakra na yetew ene tambia wani babra so baye na ko na ko tutua enya fe enti omu fa botre omu tutu omu ko parliament na nando no Bawumia fi omu dum omu like us na omu gi ka omu bo to ho no so man ti menja Ghana sina anyankopɔ no obi kwa de obedi kwa ede na wo so ntwa la be 10 million 20 million ba yire
anya asem
because ani pano ye sa or the how aneko and to be obabo president ni na president na ya yisi for ti ya se Mahama ya sralo no mpani for na nkasa yire aha so hiame sa how was on how almost o de badidi mbone ono ankasa wodi mbone wo man ne dada to ahwe ya ne maketua bi abasew wo no party ni misra omo de o kan yi light ni ya light no so mo fa kwan bi so abeboa yenya ba feba Ghana hiafo no na sikafo no na company na omo amodu light ya jan fana de ka nkure anti omo de mantimente fie 111 cd no mo koyire omo na modu ndum la emwa
okay na ora team no so enso mo gusu ya adwuma ho aban panimfo ayi o ma wiewia no
akronfo no o ma koche bi ya se yanka na de elect Bawumia mo ya se Bawumia atobi asifie ya se yanka na ele ma me nka no kre me ka che MPP mwe na no Bawumia o ma akronfo mo ti ase o mo akro obi enti me se o mo akronfo en me ma me kire de o ma wiaye $58 million away omo wiaye masa wiaye nsase nyina ko sisitan ye Mahama we de wan tuna ma ye yadafo Mahama we de wan jamani babro so say we omo de ababa ma yadafo film yi say o ye vice president o ye hoya yenche
ma se Bawumia ko bibia o
o ye say elect tell I elect so na me ka elect say ye no kura dia yenche ni yenche ntu because me adia me bomb pai no yenche Bawumia ntu yenche o mama wia ntu na me abetene no way I want wait na wia ban na me wonti me aban kasa japa de wa wia
yeso ma wia ne ma pa o before na totototo
na what ye ni na me wiem say godi na omo so mo wia dan godi omo jerga na do de ditimo wa cha nsase na ma na kuhafo nyina nsase ni Ghana nsase wo cha masa yanka no kra Ghana wo de ayesa yesi yanka alert ni say dipa no akosi dan ne wo so mako ye hwehwe mo hu ade alert we yanka bi impoka yesi yanka alert che say wo amfa wani ade yesi ya wo wasi asisu mo sisi yanka alert ade ne na yesi eta ho no masa Ghana for we na ma ya bro ade ni yesi o di perimata ka to sabi say penim waji mi we say to sabi ade sana masa ana ma Ghana for bra mam nyanke kasa yenche Bawumia ne na nado ndi ajapati nyemfa mwa ankofo yemfa nye teacher for kura nyada na abangi ma yefo kura nya ba bi na matuma ko fa continuous akronfo asefu
o ko kan se Alex
ye ko ka se asana ye chala Alex na ma de ade no kura asam no kura ye to sabi adan se nti ne kama fa na yere obadwo
o ko kan se Alex
ye se Alex ade Alex masa yanka no kra na mo ole team munche o muina fam
ole team
ye se ole team for munche o muina man yanka alert bia ade na da ho ye yanka we MPP for ni ya NDC we yo o mun ka alert bia ade ti na do MPP for so mo che yanka alert ade ti na do MPP for ana NDC MPP for ni ya we a ko mun ka ko ma di matuma anya alert bia ye se Bawumia ko ti ya wo se yanka alert ade alert adana hanka sana sam no kra ana ya da wo ko ka sa kra mu ade wo wi ade ni ye ko ka se mun ka alert ade alert asa ana me bi wa mun jayo yanka no kra an kire mpanifo ni bi omo na ma ya bre we mu no mu se yisika nyina asa de E-levy ba gu ya so asa de beta sa gu ya so no ono mo mpna no mo yire mo nanka vice president yida ko ka se matoba de 1 billion wa ba yada na wo ko ka se yanka alert sina makwa sa na alert de me ba ha ma mu ka alert bi ni ho me ba mi ni alert ni me ko sia de wa ya ma ko ka alert me ko sia no he asa yanka kranchire ya adamfo na adamfo se mistake no he Mna mikoshia ni baati mikoshia no ya makale.
Asam no. Ade unni evidence.
Evidence say o mako. Evidence be no.
Omo krom say alert.
Ade na ya alert. Alert no mo nchira ade na ya alert. Ade ni mako say ade ni sisu. Mo say alert. Ade ni sisu. Match ni sisu. Mike we insist na mekasa kum. Ade na mkasa alert. Ade na si abaya sa sisu. Anu na magana ya bre no kwabroni. Bro, no, but catch us a fuck you. Get away to boy. We're nothing over here. This is a leg. That be who I didn't worry. Young chew. And found concord. Would you for what before? I didn't hear I no crash over your work or my judgments. And no massage yellow, brooding to Suzanne. And John or more minor. The vegan of a property as the entry ledge. And for you. Penim gwache penim awia de yakochi na yankata le nyasa ya baba wa fai obia so ba ye nyina nyame mbo pa ye nyina baba empelifo na kwa empelifo we mu nyoma anwo kwa ya de mba faso wo Ghana mo de mu nyama tre
empensi why also for the musi abig jeni etin nka no I brighter media ene first time na wa subscribe page ni say the bear ya drop video bi a onso obenya bi ahwe ya kra mu nyina